So I'm pretty excited. We finally got to start this Can-Am Outlander build. And I originally meant to start videoing this thing from the beginning. I wanted to kind of take a video of what it looked like before we started on it. But I got busy, wasn't thinking, and I was really wanting to get the motor out of the thing. And I just kind of jumped into it. I don't have the motor completely out of it yet. We'll go over there here in just a second and take a look at what I got. I don't even know fully what we're going to do with it. I had originally bought it to build some parts around, but I misunderstood the ad when I went to go pick it up, and I felt so bad. I already had it loaded up. I read the ad for $1,500. I did not know at the very bottom of the ad it said $2,200 with tires and wheels, and it's just got factory wheels on it but had some mud tires. I think it's got a set of Outlaws on it. I have to go over there and look. I ain't even paid attention to it. I was kind of disappointed when I got it, so I just kind of pushed it behind the shop, and I didn't even really worry about it. I figured maybe eventually I would try to sell it to somebody, maybe needed some parts. But the market's really hot right now for Can-Am stuff. So I figured why not get it in the shop. We've picked up this Sportsman we're going to do a build with, so we can do a Can-Am build, we can do a Polaris build, and I've got a couple more projects to pick up, and we got another OBS 420 to get. So we start a Honda build at the same time. Kind of just start one of everything, I guess. But I don't really know how far I want to go with the Can-Am. If I'm not real familiar with the Can-Am stuff, so if a lot of the parts swap over, as far as like the 650 up, then I could possibly do a lot of parts for them, like maybe reverse lights. I've got a really cool idea for like a rear bumper tying into the rack, maybe some arms, maybe a stretch kit, maybe some trailing arms, possibly some radiator kits. I really don't know, really. The Outlanders they come with a little radiator thing, so maybe just like a front faceplate for it or something. I don't know. We'll dig into that once we actually get it tore apart. And I don't even know how far I'm going to tear it down. I don't know if we're going to tear it down to the frame and like sandblast it and do like a frame up kind of deal, or if we're just going to get the motor out and maybe get the plastics off and clean it up the best we can. But let's jump over here, take a look at what we actually have. And I'll go over a couple things. This is the first Can-Am I've actually ever tried to tear down. And there's a couple things that I did not know about that would have saved me a lot of time and headache if I'd have known about it. So we'll go over those when we get over there. And let's just take a look at what we got. So I know this thing being half in the sun and half in the shade is probably gonna make for a weird video. But I've got the motor like ready to go out, and I've pried it up a little bit so it's kind of leaning over. But the first thing that I thought was the airbox right off the bat. Fighting the airbox, trying to get the airbox out. I did not know that under the bottom, up under there, there's a screw under the airbox. I seen all the top screws, but did not know under the bottom there was a screw. So I actually had to pull up the factory airbox diagram on the internet, I believe on like Bike Bandit or something, just to see that there was a screw that went under the bottom. So that's the first thing. If you've never tore one apart and you're trying to tear it all down, make sure you don't forget that screw. They had some snorkel stuff right on here. I fought that for a minute. They had like exhaust tubing or something as couplers on there. It was kind of weird, but we're gonna redo all that. Probably the next biggest thing was I should have pressure washed this once I got most of it off. I wish I went ahead and tore the back plastic off, pressure washed it. I fought a lot of the nuts and bolts getting the rear diff loose. Another problem I had is the bracket. You probably can't see it for the sun, but there's a bracket down here that ties into the back of the transmission. That nut that fits down in behind all that, that was kind of a pain to get to. And that's about it. I still got to get the front drive shaft off. Tell you a quick trick that if you're maybe going to do this like what I'm going to do on this, I'm going to take the motor out, and it may be weeks or possibly a month or longer before I actually get back on it. Do you a short video unplugging all your plugs, like especially this down here where the color codes for these plugs don't line up to the factory. That harness actually runs through the motor to plug up to these, but the color codes do not match up. The same color on this side is not the same color on the main harness. So do you a short video unplugging all this, and once you get back to going with it, if you can't tell where something goes or you're not 100% sure, you can pull up that video and you'll know exactly where it goes. I ran into that on a Honda one time. I believe it was the injector. Yeah, I believe it was the injector plug And the coolant temp sensor plug was the exact same plug. And obviously if you reverse them around, it's not gonna start. So definitely take you a video, can't hurt. That's pretty much it. So we finally got the motor off this thing last night, started tearing into it, and we pretty much found what I was expecting to find. I was pretty sure the knocking noise I heard was going to be a rod, and if the camera will focus good enough, you can see that that's just a little too much play. I believe the reason it actually wasn't starting on us was the rings were stuck on the piston. There's a little bit of scarring. As you can see, the front ring's still stuck. The bottom compression ring was stuck until I started prying it loose, which was pretty much a waste of time. It's all got to be rebuilt anyways. Judging, just looking off at everything, this thing just ingested some dirt at some point in time. And that pretty much goes with the story I was told anyways. It's kind of what I was expecting. No big deal. I've got a buddy that's got a 1000 motor, and we've got a guy that's about an hour and 15 to 20 minutes from here that can flash everything and get us back to running with that 1000 motor. But my current thinking at the moment is I'm going to buy the 1000 motor, but we're going to keep it for the Renegade project that we were wanting to do, just because I can kind of get a good deal on it, and I think it'll kind of fit that Renegade project pretty good. So we'll probably rebuild this one back pretty stock. We're going to go ahead and tear it down to the frame. Just looking at it, going over everything, it's in pretty rough shape as far as the condition of everything. It's all there, it's all usable, it's just really dirty. A lot of the connectors had a lot of mud in it, and I know these Can-Ams are funny about the connections and everything. Even the key had a little mud on it when we first bought it, and it wouldn't spin over. I had to clean the key because it wasn't reading the key correctly. So the idea is to tear this all the way down to the frame. We'll probably do a small lift kit, a small stretch kit, and we'll powder coat everything and just put it back together, and hopefully do a really fast, really cheap little custom build with it. Still got the 850 here. I did get it to start the other day. Sounds really, really good with that Looney Tune exhaust. I know it needs the stator, I know it needs a water pump, and I think it's gonna have a small oil leak somewhere, which probably goes off that they probably tried to put a stator in it. I think he said they had put a used stator in it, but it was bad, so they probably just didn't replace the gasket or something. I just seen a little bit of oil dripping the other day. We'll dig into that more once we actually get going on it. I got those 3 other projects to pick up. We got the Renegade, we've got an OBS 420, and we have a 250 Big Red. And hopefully, I know we're not gonna fit it all in here, but hopefully we can kind of get going all about the same time. I've got a person lined up to do a bunch of sandblasting, and that will save me a bunch of time. Plus my big air compressor is not running at the moment, the gas air compressor for the sandblaster. So it'll save me a bunch of time on trying to get that back to going. That's pretty much gonna be it for this one. I've got a ton of cleaning to do. I've got to get the back tires back on this thing, the diff shoved back forward, and a couple bolts in it. I've got a bunch of labeling stuff to do. I got to walk around picking up nuts and bolts, labeling everything, boxing everything up until we've got time to jump back on this. So that's gonna be it for this one. Until next time.